Welcome to Build Your Infrastructure Modernization Career with Google Cloud Credentials. We're not just going to talk about certification, but also how you get there. How do you build your skills and your career in Google Cloud? I'm Lisa Guinn. I'm a Google Cloud trainer for infrastructure, and I'm also a professional cloud architect. I'm joined by Anne and Alyssa.
Hi, I'm Henmi. I'm the Learning Portfolio Manager for Infrastructure Modernization. That includes networking and security here at Google Cloud. I'm also an Associate Cloud Engineer.
Hi there, I'm Alyssa Groves. I'm a program lead for Google Cloud Certification Readiness, and I'm a certified cloud digital leader. Now, when we're talking about certifications and credentials, we're not just talking about digital badges. We're also talking about how you can invest and have a significant impact on your organization. How do you do that, you ask? One, you can build a company of cloud experts and grow and showcase your team's cloud skills, help them gain confidence in their abilities, and stay current to give your company a competitive edge. You can increase engagement and morale by showing your employees that they're greatly valued by your organization and that you're invested in their success. You can solve your organization's toughest business challenges quicker with a team that has the right cloud skills. And finally, you can inspire innovation and drive new ideas in your business, find and attract diverse cloud talent, meet your strategic objectives, and boost your bottom line. Now, we talked about what you can do for your team, but what does this mean personally? Lisa and Anne, what are your thoughts?
So, Alyssa, one of the things you talked about was how people need to have their credentials and upskill their knowledge and build their careers. Well, this is where we're going to concentrate on this part here, right? So we were going to upskill your infrastructure knowledge. So if you already have an infrastructure knowledge from a data center, what does it look like in the cloud? We want to kind of build on that. Then once you've got the skills and everything, let's get some credentials for you. Let's show people, hey, this is the cool stuff I can do. I am actually either a professional cloud architect, I am a associate cloud engineer, or possibly even a network or security one, right? Mm-hmm. And then after you've got your credentials, you want to keep on learning. And Alyssa, Lisa and I have talked about this in the past. Lisa, how do you keep on learning?
Well, one of the things, of course, you want to do is keep on top of all the changes that come down in Google Cloud. Every month, every couple of months, there is some new product that's worth checking out, and you can subscribe to one of the blogs and keep up with that. But how do you get hands-on with these things? We'll talk a bit about Skills Boost and the Quick Labs that give you a lot of opportunity for hands-on. The trouble is there are hundreds of hands-on labs. How do you pick and choose which ones will be the best for your particular job, your particular career path? And I think that's one way that certifications really help direct what are we going to do out of all the things we could be doing with our time.
In addition to those, Alyssa, where do you find that cloud credentials can help you build careers and teams?
So yeah, and as you can tell by now, I work in fours, so I can split it up into 4 different pillars. So one, it's going to help you have that validation and credibility, and you'll be able to showcase your cloud skills to be able to drive transformation for yourself, but also your organization. You can also future-proof your career, and in an uncertain or unprecedented time such as this, it's definitely important to do so. You also will be able to demonstrate business impact and finally diversify your connections. Now, between these 4 specific certifications, can you kind of talk about the differences between them?
Sure. I can speak to the infrastructure modernization. I have both the Associate Cloud Engineer and the Professional Cloud Architect. And in some ways, they cover the same ground because they're pretty broad in terms of covering all of Google Cloud infrastructure. They don't emphasize the machine learning pieces, but otherwise, it's pretty much everything. And yet they're quite different. The Professional Cloud Architect is more focused on planning and has case studies. It's really about the design aspects. Whereas the associate cloud engineer is more focused on hands-on actual implementation. And I think that sort of reflects the fact that although a professional cloud architect does get involved with implementation, it's just a part of their job. So if you're thinking about one of these two, I would say the one that's easier for you is likely to be the one that aligns more with the job that you do every day. That's my feedback on those two. What about networking and security, Anne? That's more your area.
Yeah, networking and security is very much comes from the data center, right? So you have people who come from those areas and they've either gone and either physically plugged the wires, set up subnetting, set up VLANs on the networking side, and security, they've set up identity management, they've set up other ways of securing data at rest and data in motion. So depending on where you're coming from and what your specialty is and what's close to your heart is probably what you're going to concentrate on if you're coming from data center over to cloud. So much like the ACE and PCA have their areas of expertise, the PCNE, which is the networking one, and the PCSE have their specialties as well. So it really kind of depends on your background and role, right, Lisa? Right, Alyssa? Is that kind of what you're running into a little bit?
Yes, and maybe on what you already come to Google Cloud knowing. So,
That's very,
yeah.
yeah, that's very true. For example, this slide here shows a relative mapping, right? Because no cloud is created equal. They're all very different in different ways. How you would associate like the ACE with the Azure or AWS equivalent, same with the PCA, right? What's the equivalent for the other two big clouds out there, AWS and Azure? Security and networking are pretty obvious because they have security and networking in their titles, and you can kind of figure that out. But in today's world, we very much live in a multi-cloud environment, right? And it's not that we've built a multi-cloud from the ground up. It's we have maybe Alyssa's department set up their own little cloud in, say, like Google Cloud, or Lisa's set up one in AWS, and I've set up one in Azure, and they all need to speak to each other. And that's our multi-cloud. So just because you have one cloud certification doesn't mean it doesn't hurt to get others, right? So,
yeah, I think that is the reality that most large companies probably are using more than one cloud in addition to possibly having legacy things in the data center.
very true. Alyssa, what's your take on that?
I think it's also good that we have courses that help people who have backgrounds on other clouds to be able to translate that knowledge into GCP. So for example, on Cloud Skills Boost, we have a course called Google Cloud Fundamentals for AWS and Azure Professionals. And so it really helps people to be able to take those skills, take that knowledge and move it to a cloud, into a multi-cloud approach. And as you can see on this slide, there's a lot of ways that you can learn. So again, the fours, you start with your instructor-led training, where our authorized training partners are able to deliver high quality and curate current content for a virtual or live classroom. You have your on-demand content where you can learn anytime, anywhere. And then we have our hands-on labs, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but they allow you to practice through a series of labs and quests to gain experience in a sort of sandbox environment. And then finally, our credentials and certifications, which brought us all here today, and they serve as a benchmark to measure cloud skills proficiency. So Anne, could you maybe walk us through an example of what this might look like?
Sure, no problem, Alyssa. Let's take the professional cloud security engineer's journey as a really great example. This one's a good one because it's got 5 classes you can either take as either on demand or you can take them in person. And there's about 3 things for practicing. And then after you're done with all of that, go look through the exam guide, go take sample questions, go take practice tests, and that's when you certify for the exam. But before you even certify for the exam, Alyssa, one of the things I did is I took the Preparing for Professional Security Cloud Engineer Journey course, and I found it really helpful because it showed me where my strengths and where my weaknesses are. What do you find is the case with that?
Yeah, I think that course is super helpful. We actually just developed it and it's free to all, regardless of your Cloud Skills Boost subscription. And it allows you to go through different modules to figure out where you're at and really customize your learning plan and your study plan for the journey. And then you also are able to take diagnostic questions at the end of each module to really test your knowledge. So I think that's a great place to start for anyone who is starting a certification journey for sure.
That's great. How long, this is for both you and Lisa. How long should it take?
Well, I think that really depends on your background. And that's one of the things that the journey does. As you mentioned, it gets you lined up for where you really need to spend some time. I think the other thing that's cool in this learning path are the skill badges, because they let you get some hands-on practice, but they always end with a challenge lab. If you can complete the challenge lab, then you know you've got that skill under your belt. And if you don't, well, then you can go back and do the labs again until you're ready. So I think, the journey is typically 6 to 8 weeks, but a person might get it done quicker or slower. Alyssa, what do the journeys normally take?
Again, like you said, it all just depends. It's really about the preparation that you put into it. It's definitely an investment, but the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So just take your time and really walk through it as you can.
Yeah, that's definitely important to walk through it like as much as you can to retain as much as you can.
Well, and that's a good point. And where are you going to get started? There are actually a couple of resources that you have here at Next and then going forward. The first thing is there are some challenges that you can do today at Next. It's called Google Cloud, and you go to the Dev Zone and connect up with that. But if you're thinking, hey, I really want to get started on this whole certification journey, you can go to the class that Ann and Alyssa mentioned by using the 30 days no cost trial training subscription. So just sign up for your free 30-day subscription. Maybe if you've already got a strong background, you could actually finish and be ready to certify at the end of the 30 days. Although I think most people will take longer than that. Just depends on your background. So once your 30-day trial is up, hopefully you'll go forward with the annual subscription, because there are always new things happening in Google Cloud, new projects to do, new team members who join. So we hope that you've gotten a lot out of today's presentation and that you'll go on and take some of these action steps right away. Thank you, Alyssa and Ann, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming and participating in this talk. I hope you have a great time at Next 22.